All right, Nathan, so here is what we have. We've got tables, and we're going to need to identify two things. We're going to need to figure out what the relationship is, and we're going to need to figure out what the value of y is when x, in this case, is 100, and in this case, when x isn't 100, and in fact, in all the cases, when x is 100, except for some of these down here. And so let's jump right on in. We're going to start with this second problem. And so here is what we know. We know we've got some x values and we've got some y values, and these are two unique coordinates. And we're going to need to figure out what and what to determine the relationship, or figuring out how to write this as an equation. Do you remember?
Um, we have to find the rise over run.
We're going to need to figure out the rise over run, and another way to describe that is the slope. And so let's do that right now. So we remember that the slope is the change in the y values over the change in the x values. And another way we
Mhm.
can write that is using this formula: y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And so now we can simply pop in some of these values to figure out what the slope is in this case. And so if we're going to plug in or substitute these values, what should we pop in?
You have to find um 22 plus what equal 37.
So you know, we certainly could do it this way. What I'm going to do is, if this is let's say these are the first values and these are the second values, that would make 37 y2. Where I'm going to do 37 minus 22, because that's y2 minus y1, and we're going to do what? What minus what? To stay consistent?
Um, 5 minus 10.
5 minus 10, or is it going to be 10 minus
Oh,
5?
10 minus 5.
It sure is going to be 10 minus 5. And so what's 32 minus 20? Oh, I'm sorry, 37 minus 22?
Um, 37 minus 22.
Yep,
15.
it is 15. Well done. And what's 10 minus 5?
5.
It's 5. And then 15 minus 5 is what?
10.
Nope. 15. I'm sorry. You know what? 15 divided
Oh,
by 5
15 divided
is
by 5. 3.
15 divided by 5 sure is 3. So this is the slope. And now we're going to need to figure out what?
We're gonna have to figure out um the x and y and x and y at y-intercept.
Yeah, man, we're going to need to figure out the y-intercept. And I know that because we're writing this equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We just figured out what the m is. Now we've got to figure out the b. And how are we going to go about doing that?
Um, I'm not sure.
No worries. All right, so what we can do is we can simply identify a point. And so we could select either this coordinate, and we know that a coordinate has an x value and a y value, or we could select this one. Do you have a preference?
No, don't care.
We'll do this one. Why not? All right. So I'm going to do a couple things. I'm going to rewrite this equation: y equals mx plus b. You told me we've got to solve for b, and you're absolutely right. But I know that we can substitute in 3 for m, because we just
Mhm.
figured that out. Again, well done. But what we can also do is substitute in an x or y value. And so let's substitute 37 in for y, and we're going to substitute what in for x?
Um, uh, x.
Nope. Are we going to substitute 5 in for x or 10 in for x? If
10.
it is 10. And I know that because this is the coordinate that we're using. And all right, let's keep it moving. And I remember that we're solving for b. And so what exactly are we going to be doing now?
Um, you have to multiply um 3 by wait um I'm not sure.
So we're going to be simplifying. We want to isolate b. And to do that, I'm simply going to rewrite 37. And we've got to do some multiplying. We're going to multiply what times what?
3 but times 10,
And that gives us,
30.
that sure does give us 30 plus b. And if we're isolating b, we want to get rid of 30. And how are we going to do that?
Minus 30.
We're going to subtract 30 from both sides. Beautiful. And so ultimately b equals what then?
7.
B sure does equal 7. All right, so now if b equals 7, that seems pretty important. And we know that m equals 3. What's the equation?
Y equals 3x plus 7.
Y equals 3x plus 7. Well done. Nice job. All right, so we've got to figure out what the value of y is when x is 100. How are we going to go about doing that?
Uh, um, gonna have to multiply 3. Wait, never mind. Gonna have to.
So can I help you out a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, so here's what's going to happen. This is our equation, what we can also call the rule. And what we're going to do is we're going to simply substitute in the x value, oops, which we know is going to be what in this instance?
Y equal 100. You have to put in 100
Yeah,
in between.
absolutely. We're going to pop in 100. Beautiful. All right, and so when we do that, y is equal to
307.
307. That makes sense to me, so I'm going to simply write that in. Beautiful. And you know what we can do is we can see if if this works. And so I know that if this is the rule and we simply pop in the value of x. So what is 3 times 10 is 30 plus 7 is 37. So that makes sense. I know that if we were to pop in this very first value, 5 times 3 is 15 plus 7 is 22. All right. So this works out. This checks out. This looks good. Can we do a few more?
Yeah.
What a guy. All right. So let's take a look at.
Don't we have to fill in the rest of the things?
You know what? I was going to do that later. You want to do that right now?
Sure.
Let's do that quickly. All right. So if we're going to go, we could go by ones, we could go by fives, we could go by any difference we want. Do we want to go by fives? Would that make sense?
Sure.
All right. All right. So what is 3 times 15 is what?
3 times 15 is 45.
45, and what? 45 plus 7?
45 plus 7 is 52.
Well done. All right. 20. 20 times 3 is what?
20 times 3 is 60.
Plus 7 is
67.
amazing. 25 times 3
25 times 3 is 75.
plus 7 is.
82.
I'm starting to see a pattern here. All right. Let's keep it moving. What's 30 times 3?
1 sec. I just have to fill the things in.
No worries. You're doing great, by the way.
Thank you. Okay. What was the question?
So we have to figure out what the value of y is when x is 30 given this rule. So 30
Okay.
times 3 is
90.
plus 7 will give us
97.
nice. And then 35 times 3.
35 times 3 is uh 105.
That sounds right to me. Plus 7 is
112.
yes. That looks great. All right, we just figured out how to solve this table. We found the relationship. We're doing great. Uh,
Mhm.
let's keep it moving. Let's look at this one. And here we've got some negative numbers. We've got a positive number. We need to figure out what again? What's the very first thing that we need to determine?
The slope.
Yeah, we've got to figure out what the slope is. So do you remember that formula that I mentioned a moment ago?
Y equal mx plus b.
That's one formula. That's great. But the other one that we're going to use is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, which we can also
Mhm.
refer to as a change in y's over the change in x's. And let's plug in some values.
Okay.
So let's pretend that this is the first coordinate and this is the second
Mhm.
coordinate.
So it'll be -1. I meant 1 minus
Uh-oh.
net
Uh-oh. Quick
1.
question. And I make this mistake all the time. I can see that these are the x values and these are the y
Oh.
values. But
Oh, okay.
we remember it's going to be y2 minus y1.
Yeah. So it's gonna be -8,
Yep.
um, minus 12, minus -12
Minus negative 12.
over 1
Yep.
minus 1.
1 minus 1. And I know that if we wanted to simplify this, we could say negative 8 plus 12 over 1 plus 1. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. And so negative 8 plus 12 will give us.
-8 plus 12.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Let me plug it into my calculator.
No, well, you certainly can.
4.
It is 4, and we've got company. It is 4.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I'm actually on the seventh one, so you
You
guys
know,
can know.
and we can jump around. We're doing 5 problems, so we can work on that problem next. So here's what I
Okay.
know. Nathaniel just said, Rose, we've got to figure out what the slope is, and we're almost there. And negative 8 plus 12 will give us what, Nathaniel?
-8 plus 12 is 4.
It sure is. That's a positive 4. And 1 plus 1 gives us
2.
2. And so we can simplify this slope to what?
2.
Nice. Well done. All right. And once we've got that slope, Marco, what do we need to figure out again?
The Y-intercept.
The y-intercept. And how are we going to go about doing that?
Substitute the Y and X values into the equation.
Yes. Thank you so much. Along with that slope that we just figured out. And so I know that we're going to need to pop in the slope, which we just determined is 2. And we need to now pop in one of these coordinates. Nathaniel, which one do you want to do? Do you want to do this first one, or do you want to do the second one?
I'll do the second one.
Let's do the second one. All right. So instead of y, we're going to write.
Um, uh, I'm gonna write. I'm not sure. I forgot.
No worries. So when I use my eyeballs, I can see that if this is the coordinate that we're talking about, if those are the values we're going to be plugging in, we're going to plug in negative 8 for y. And then
Hmm.
for x, we're going to be plugging in.
Uh, one.
We're going to be, you said it. We're going to be plugging in 1, and
One.
we've got to solve for b.
Okay.
Okay. So what do I know? I know that negative 8 equals 2 times 1 is 2 plus b. And when we isolate b, what do we do?
Um. What was the question?
And hold on a second. So we want to isolate b.
Mm-hmm. gonna minus 2 or wait, yeah.
We want to subtract 2. Beautiful. Okay. And so what does that give us? When we
Gives
subtract
us gives us
-8, and we're going to subtract 2.
-6. Wait, 6.
So -8 minus 2 is going to be -10.
Oh my gosh.
No worries, we're going like an additional 2 units away from 0, and so you're doing great. You're killing it. We now have got our rule, which we know is y equals, what's the slope again?
2x 2
2x minus 10. All right, so we just figured out our rule, and so we're not going to fill in right now all these values. Instead, what we're just going to do is we're going to figure out what y is when x is 100.
Okay.
All right, and so what is y when x is 100?
Um well, first we have to do y equal to and then put in 100
And we're going to
minus
pop in,
10.
yeah, we're going to substitute in 100. And so then y equals what?
Y equals 190.
190. Nice job. Marco, I saw you a moment ago. You had your hand raised. Talk to us.
Yeah, which question number is this?
So we just did the second one.
Okay.
So this is all the work that we've done so far, and so we can do whatever problem you'd like to work on now, Marco. Which one do you want to work on?
The 7th. Just like I did the like the equation. I was just like
3.
I don't know if I got the right answer on like the
All right.
like the y on 50.
Yeah, no worries. So to be clear, is this the one that you're working on?
Yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
great. So we got to figure out the slope, which we remember is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And what values are we going to be plugging in, Nathaniel? We've been practicing this. Help us out.
We're gonna be plugging in 6 minus 6 we're gonna doing
So we're looking at the y values. It's change in y over change in x.
-13.
Yes.
Plus 8.
So I can see that there's a minus sign here. So it's -13 minus 8. Over what?
Over 6 minus -1.
6 minus -1. Okay, and when I use my eyeballs, I can see that the x is increasing, but the y is decreasing. And so we know that -13 minus 8 gives us what?
-21.
-21 sounds about right. And then 6 minus -1 gives us what?
6 minus -1 equals 7.
Beautiful. And so what can we simplify that to?
-3, right?
So we're going to simplify that to -3. Beautiful. And so that means that for every one unit that the x value is moving, that the y values are going down 3. And we've got the slope. We now need to figure out what b is. And so how are we going to do that?
we're gonna have to find this y-intercept.
We're going to have to figure out what the y-intercept is. So I'm going to rewrite y equals mx plus b. And we know that the slope now is -3. And what are we going to plug in for the x and the y?
I forgot. My mind is blanking.
No worries. So we have to plug in one of these values. So either this coordinate or this coordinate. Marco,
Okay.
you were working on this problem. Were you able to figure out that the slope is -3?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
great.
was.
And then Marco, we need to plug in a coordinate. Which one do you want to plug in? -1 and 8 or 6 and -13?
I chose -1 and 8
Okay. So
for mine.
let's pop in 8 for y. And we're going to pop in -1 for x. And now we've got to simplify. -3 times -1 gives us... What'd you get, Nathaniel?
Um,
A negative times a negative always is a
positive, right?
positive, and 3 times 1 is...
3 times 1 is 3.
3 times 1 is 3. So I know we're going to have 8 equals 3 plus b. We've got to figure out what b is. And what is b? If we subtract 3 from both sides, yikes.
8 minus 3 is 6. Not 6. 5.
It's 5. Nice, man. All right, so we've got the y-intercepts. We've got the slope. And let's write this rule, which we now know is y equals -3 x plus 5. Beautiful. Hey, Marco, I need your help now, dude.
So now you would substitute 50 for y, y for 50.
So now we're going to substitute y for 50. And let's do that right over here. So it's going to be 50 equals -3x plus 5. We don't know what x is. That's our objective. We got to figure out what this is. So we need to isolate x. And let's do that right now. So what's the first thing that we're going to do? Marco.
I don't know. I think you should subtract 5. I don't think it.
I like that idea. We're going to apply the inverse operation. And 50 minus 5 gives us... gives us 45. And 45 equals -3x. Nathaniel, I can't remember how to isolate x. It's embarrassing.
You minus 45.
We are not going to minus 45.
I meant 3.
Say that one more time, please.
Plus, add 3.
What's the relationship between this coefficient, -3, and x? What's happening between these two?
They're combined.
Are they being added, subtracted, multiplied, or divided?
Multiplied.
They are.
I meant divide.
So yeah, so you're right. We want to divide. We're going to divide both sides by -3. And x then is what? What's 45 divided by -3?
45 divided by -3. Let's see. 45 divided by... I'm putting into my calculator.
Love it.
45 divided by... -15.
Yes. Marco, is that what you got?
I got 15, but I messed up, so.
Okay. And yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Beautiful. Do you want to work on another problem?
Can we fill in for the third one?
You want to fill in? Let's go back to that third one. Um,
Um, I'm gonna go. Okay.
Marco, thanks for
Um,
stopping by. I very much appreciate
yeah.
it.
Okay.
I'll catch
Thank
you
you
later, dude.
too for helping. Bye.
Anytime. All right, dude. So yeah, let's go ahead and fill this in. Um, I remember that this is the equation that we're going to be using. So we're going to be
Mm-hmm.
popping in x values to figure out what y values are. And do we just want to go by ones
Sure.
in terms of x values? All right, so we got so it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. So you're going to help me out. So I know that when x is 2, it's going to be 2 times 2 minus 10. What's 2 times 2?
4
Minus 10 will give us 4
minus
minus
10 will give us, 4 minus 10, you said?
Yeah, man.
4 minus 10 is, um, -6.
-6. And you know, another way that you could have approached this, actually this might be the easier way, is that the slope is 2. The slope is 2,
Yeah.
right? And so we're simply adding 2 to each y value as we shift to the right. So I know that the x values are increasing by 1, and the y values are increasing by 2. So -8 plus 2 is -6. So what's the next one going to be?
Um, Next one's gonna be
If we're adding 2, -6 plus 2.
-6 plus 2 is gonna be -4,
Yeah, man. And then,
and then -2, right?
yeah, absolutely. And you know, like if that's a little confusing, I know it's if x is 4, right? So 4 times 2 is 8 minus 10 is -2. So what's the value of y when x is 5?
0.
0. And then what's the value of y when x is 6?
Um, 2.
Nice. You Let's do one more and then we're gonna wrap things up. Is that okay with you?
Yep.
Do you have a preference?
I guess we could do the fourth one.
Let's do the fourth one. Why not? All right. So what's the first thing that we're gonna need to do again? I forget.
Find the slope.
Let's find that slope. And what's the formula?
Uh, M equal y2 minus y1
Yeah.
over x2 minus x1.
Great. So what values are we gonna be plugging in?
97 minus 10
Nope.
over, wait, 97 plus 10,
Nope.
right?
Nope. So that's okay. I'm gonna use my eyeballs, and we're just talking about the y values.
Oh, minus 37
Yes. Well done.
over 10 minus 4,
Over 10 minus 4. Well done. So what's 97 minus 37?
60,
60. And what's 10 minus 4?
6,
6. Beautiful. So the slope is then, if we simplify,
10.
it's going to be 10. I like that. Okay. And now, what are we doing again?
Then we have to find the y-intercept.
We got to find out what the y-intercept is. And how are we going to do that?
We have to get rid of, we have to,
I'll give you a clue. We're gonna be using one of these. So either this or we're gonna be using this.
forgot.
So what we need to do, and that's okay. We want to plug in one of these coordinates, an x value and a y value, or this x value and this y value into this equation right here. Okay. So do we want to plug in this value?
Sure.
Like this second coordinate? Okay, great. So what are we going to plug in for y then? I forget.
10.
If we're using this coordinate.
I meant 97.
97. Well done. All right, so it's going to be 10 times what?
10 times 10.
Yeah, man. 10 times 10. Great. And so we need to isolate for b. So we know that it's going to be 97 equals, what's 10 times 10?
100.
100 plus b.
Mhm.
And so we need to, how are we going to
Get
get
rid of the 100
we got to get rid of the 100, and to do that we are going to,
minus 100.
we're going to subtract 100 from both sides. Well done. And negative 100 plus 97 gives us what?
Negative 3.
Yeah, so b is negative 3. And now we can write this equation. And what is the equation?
Y equal 10x plus negative 3.
Yeah, man. Well done. All right, so we've got our equation. And now this is going to be the last thing that we do. We're going to need to figure out what the value of y is when x is 100.
Okay. Y. So what we have to do is do y equal 10 times 100, right?
Y equals 10 times 100
Minus 3.
minus 3.
Okay. So 100 times 10 equals 1000.
Equals 1000. Yeah, 10,
Minus 3
10, 10,
equals
100.
997.
Yes, well done. Nice job, man. 997. So then what you can do is simply apply this this equation to figure out what either 11, 12, 13 hours is, or whatever sequence you want to do with x values. Nice job, Nathaniel. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I hope this was meaningful for you.
Yep. Thank you.
All right, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry. Okay.